Well, first and foremost, thank you all for being here. We had a great crowd Friday night. It helped cheer us on to a fantastic win over Northern Valley to claim the region championship. We look to this Friday. We have Weskin. We'll be traveling up there, who's a very good team, solid, very solid coaching staff. Have plenty of athletes on both sides of the ball. Should be a game that is hopefully talked about for a while. Feel like we have a good chance to be successful. And with that, I am open for questions.
Great win last Friday. How are you guys mentally preparing yourself knowing that each game goes to
Just we talk about it. We can't act like it's not a possibility. Obviously, we want to have three more games, but so do the other 7 teams that are still playing. Everybody wants 3 games left, and so we just address it early in the week. This is the potentially the last week we could be together. Obviously, none of us want that, and then that's kind of what we do. We address it, and then it's business as usual. Practice isn't going to look much different than it normally does. We sit down on Sundays as coaching staff, go over their film, see what they like to do, see what they're really good at, see where there's holes at on both sides, the offense and defense, and create a game plan. We can't make this game bigger than what it is. At the end of the day, it's two very high quality 6-man football teams playing and both trying to find a shot and trying to get to the state championship. Not in terms of how we prep. We prepare pretty much every week about the same. It's just kind of what we are running in practice and what we look for in practice is really all that has changed from last week to this week. Number one, I can't think of what his name is. I'm not great. I haven't really looked at a roster. Number 1 form is really good. Number 8 is really good for him. Number 10 is very, very solid. All 3 of them can change the game by themselves. You put all 3 of them out there together, it could create quite a few issues. They probably have one of the best kickers in the state. He can kick the ball out of the end zone every time, and very similarly to us, has a very high quality, or not high quality, high percentage of PATs made. So we kind of got to know where a lot of the guys are at any time and figure out how to contain them. Last year was last year. They're a different team. We're a different team. I'm sure their game plan is going to be different to address us and our game plan. I can't exactly speak to what the game plan last year was, but I'm almost positive it's a little bit different than what it was last year. We have to we have to kind of look at that. Last year was last year. We focus on what's in front of us and not be too worried about any of the outside noise. I think any game going forward is the biggest game of our season. We try and keep that mindset with our boys. Last week, playing Northern Valley is the biggest game of the season. This week's the biggest game of our season. If we're lucky enough to continue to play, the next game is going to be the biggest game of the season. Then hopefully after that, it is the biggest game of the season across the state.
How will you guys prepare mentally on the game?
Yeah, we're going to do kind of very similar to what we have on any of our long trips. We are going to, we'll meet right before, make sure everybody has everything, and then, get on the bus, kind of let them be relaxed a little bit, and then it's business as usual. If we have pregame meal, have a pregame meal, and just like I said, we got to address this game like we have all year, not let the opponent dictate what we're going to do. Just we worry about us, and they worry about them, and let the results on the scoreboard do the talking. Every game I go into, I want to win. So I'd say probably we have that going for us. That mentally wise, we've done what we can do all week to prepare for Friday and get ready for that. All right, I appreciate it.